Everybody, I don't know how many of you are out there yet. You just got set up to go. So we'll see in a few minutes. I know that Teresa's been here and Angla's up and about. And I'm glad to see that. Um, I didn't get to see you last week, Angla. I'm going to have a class this Saturday for the gardener group, for the gardening group. And I'm going to wait a little time for people to get in and kind of fill you in on what's been going on around me. Um, Despite last week's problems with my computer just not working, we figured out what it was. It was a program that my cameras and my audio go through, and it got configured, and Susan came and fixed it so it's undone, whatever it was. And I hope it's gone away. I've been playing with it quite a bit, and it all seems to be working fine. So we're hoping and hoping and hoping it's going to work. It's going to keep working. Um, let's see what I've got going on. Last Tuesday I had the drawing for the crystals, my little bag of crystals that ran away from me all over the floor. When I swept up my office, I found them all. And the proud winner of that was Alpha Volpe. I think that's Atha Volpe. I'm not sure, but she's in the chat. You're going to get a little bag of crystals, Alpha, and I'm going to send along with it the name of the app that I use. That you, if you have a smartphone, you just take a picture of the stone. If you don't know what it is, it'll tell you what it is. And I went through the whole bag, and I can verify it can find all the stones. So you won't be stuck with a stone you don't know what to call it. There's lots of fun stuff in there. There's some red jaspers. There's some blue and green aventurines. There's some rutilated quartz, which is quartz that has little other fibers of other crystals running through it. Just a lot of fun little things. And there's one big blue aventurine crescent moon. So I hope you have some time. Yeah, we actually had a cooling off period the end of last week. And when I mean cool, I mean it only got into the mid to upper 90s. And today I woke up this morning, and at 7 o'clock it was 82 degrees, which means it's going to get up to over 100 today. But this looks kind of like our last week of 100 degrees. This is when it starts to cool. And the best way for us to tell that it's really cooling down is that the nighttime temperatures get into the 70s, and then it doesn't go up so much. But at one point, I think in the middle of the night here, it was 86 degrees, which is gross. Anyway, so enough about our crap ass weather. Atha, I'll have your stuff to you later this week when it's cool enough to go out and run it down to the mailbox. Um, and what other things I have going on this week? Hi, Cartomancy. I tried to call you this morning about something. It's not really important, but I just wanted to touch base. Um, I'm I'm going to be doing a show with Danny, and he said you suggest some topics to me. And one of the things that I watched this last week was a documentary on what they call blue zones. And blue zones are areas in the world. They're not big. I mean, they're like an island or a small part of a country where people live to be over. They have a much higher rate of people who live to be 100. And they were examining in the five documentaries the five big zones. And one is Okinawa, uh, one is in Loma Linda, California, and it's tied to the Adventist church that's there and how the people, what they eat and what they do to keep themselves young and active. One is in Costa Rica. One is in Greece. And I can't remember the fifth one. Blank, blank. Should have written it down. Oops. Anyway, the one that intrigued me was in Okinawa because this documentary was made 10 years ago. But when they were studying the people there, the people that were getting to be over 100 years were children during the invasion of Okinawa by the U.S. soldiers, and over 200,000 of their the people on that little tiny island died. And you would think there'd be a lot of PTSD, which there was to some extent. But instead of saying we're just going to worry ourselves to death and get freaked about it, they found some other coping mechanisms. So if you can get a chance to find it, you can Google it and look for blue zones. But this, I'm going to talk to you about one of the things I thought that was really good there. It's called Ikigai, and I think that's how you say it. I'm not really sure because Susan speaks Japanese. I speak Japanese. Anyway, it's the grand essentials to the happiness of life are you have something to do, you have something you love, and you have something to hope for. And they showed how socially they just keep things going for the people. They all have vegetable gardens. That's a big chunk in each one of the places it was a blue zone. A big chunk of why the people were doing so much better was because they don't get any processed food. Um, and when processed food hits their area, the number of centurions goes down. Um, but anyway, it was a fascinating um, documentary, and there's several books written about it too. If you're a book reader, I know that I sent it to Danny as one of the ideas of what we could explore on his show. And we've got 35 of you charming folks in here. Yeah, this is, and I will take questions from the chat as time allows. But we're going to go to the uh, questions that were sent in to me. And I am going to go to the second camera that looks at the table because I think it's so much easier to follow what I'm doing if you can actually see it. I just can't imagine why people don't think that's interesting. Anyway, okay, this is the garden. And the first question is from Oil Painter. It's a wonderful time to be here. Your light is caught in your third eye. Namaste. And I think that's just a lovely thought. If it's great if you wake up every day saying it's a wonderful day, time to be here. I think that really, and I know some days you wake up and if you're like me, you have a few aches and pains and things that remind you that you're older than you used to be, but you're here. And so I think that's really important. Um, and then this is another question we got. We have a camera in our garage. It often catches orbs or dust particles, periodically sending us a notification. That's a pretty big dust particle if it's triggering off your alarm. She wanted to know if it was orbs or fairies. She had more written on this, but Lauren, there's a limit and it won't let me copy over your whole question. So I tried to do the best I could with looking at it. So we're going to look at it this way. And my camera's going fuzzy. Okay, it could be a fuzzy camera. Okay, we're going to roll the stones in the garden and see what's in your garage. Now, my first thing is if you follow a pattern like you're doing a lot of work, spiritual work, and a lot of them show up, that could be orbs. It also could be fairies because, man, they're coming out. So these are Lauren's orbs in her garage. Okay. Well, you got clarity is up here in this corner, and y'all know that's just my favorite place to have things land because I have to read every one of these. So we're going to start with what we should be finding out in clarity. It says you need to follow the patterns that the orbs are creating so that you can figure out why they're there. Like I said, are you doing a lot of spiritual work? Are you doing, if you read cards, you throw in your pendulum, what are you doing? And if there are more that the night after that, then it could be orbs. It could be spiritual energy you've set up into your house. But then it says you intuitively know what you think they are, and I think I intuitively feel like they're fairies, and this may tell me why, because you've got clarity in your root chakra, and it said tying cosmic wisdom is needed to this. So I think I count them as cosmic wisdom things. And they're there really, they're there to help you harmonize and get your attentions all on the same page. And I think you've had a history with orbs or fairies because you've got your clarity comes from the past. Use lessons that you've learned in your life moving forward with this. And we're going to see what fire does for you. Yeah, you can go out and address them and address the energy that's in the garage, even if it's not a time you're seeing orbs. You can go out and talk to them and say, I'm here. I appreciate you're here. I appreciate you bringing in positive power, because fairies are coming now to help us establish a stronger sense of our own power. And that would be really a good thing for you to let them know. You have worked with fairies in the past. Um, I think it was maybe as long as 2 lifetimes ago. It was a time when the fairies were still present on the surface of the earth, and you were working in an agricultural community, and they helped you. So now we've got our body in fire. And this, once again, we're embodying something that's come from your past. What's your mind doing in earth? New thoughts are coming up about this. Final thoughts to this situation are coming towards you. Your your spirits in the future, which is great. That means you're just beginning to explore this, and the transmutation hasn't changed for you yet. It's almost there, but it's not quite ready. But I think if you go out and talk to them and speak to them and say, I'm open, you'll start to have dreams, or they'll be, the images will become clearer, and you'll be able to see more of what they really are. And your grounding is between air and water. And when grounding is in water, it says, and that's where most of your grounding is, it says, you're changing yourself into some long-term patterns. So whatever the energy that's out there, it wants to work with you in the long term. And it really wants to help you learn how to focus your mental abundance towards your spiritual gifts. So you got a fun garage, girl. I don't have a garage. If I had a garage, I wouldn't know. It's my garage is a big old oak tree outside. But anyway, I hope that helps. I really felt when I read your question, I really felt positive about it. I didn't even roll any cards earlier. Sometimes I do to get a feel for things. I said, no, we're going to find out what it is. I think it's fairies. I think you've worked with that energy before. And then this is the lady who won the crystals, and I didn't even know it. So it's like a birthday gift for you on Friday. And I did your numbers for your this year. You're in a 5 personal year. You're closing that out. Next year you'll be in a 6 personal year, and that's a great year for bonding together with people, building things, building people around you that become like family or our family, and you can build warmer bonds with them. It's also a time to make yourself feel comfortable, buy that comfy chair that you've always wanted, or put new cushions on the couch so you feel more comfortable there. It's just a great time for you. This 6 is a great year. This last year that you had, 5 is the number 5 in personal years is it's freedom or chaos. If you've done the first 4 years, if people are going, what the hell is she talking about? We live in 9-year cycles, and you add your birth date up, and then you add this year in. So in her case, her 9 and 8 equals 17, which equals 6, and 6 and 7 is, I did it wrong. No, I added it up to 20, 17 and 7 is 24, and that equals 6. So that's how you figure it out. It's your birth month, the day, simplified down to 1-digit number, and then we are in a 7-year. 2023 adds up to 7. You add those numbers all together, and it tells you what year you're in. And if you want to know more about it, go Google personal numbers, personal year in Google, and it will tell you everything you ever needed to know. If you want to have a really scholarly approach that will not bore you to death, actually, she's really funny. Her name is Ann Perry, AANPERRY. She's visited the show, and she's very good about. She has a really, if you get to her channel, she has an open library where you can go and find a lot more information about these things. I really like her. I like her approach, and I think you ought to have a wonderful, comfortable, homey next year. Now we're going to this is it. Will the shift of consciousness be easier for the younger generations? Oh, yes, but I'm going to roll it in the garden and see what the garden says. But since 2012, the kids that have been being born are mostly star children, and they're in good shape. And 2012 was the year of the dragon in the Chinese numbers, and that's the year my grandson was born. And those kids are just they're lit up. I mean, it's just wonderful. So let's see. Are the younger children more prepared for the enlightenment that's coming down on all of us? Okay. And they also have to embody their past and really, really, they came in knowing who they were before. They're not going to spend till they're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s to find out, oh, I had a past life and it had something to do with why I'm here. Their spirit, though, is split between the past and learning from the past. And they've already come in transformed. They don't have to go through a lot of the stuff we've had to go through. And by being here in fire, um, that it when they free themselves up, they can see very enlightening ideas. They pick up on the enlightenment very quickly. Their clarity is a little bit false, and their vision's clouded right now because they're still too young. But when they get old enough to start to really hear these things, they'll instantly understand them. They'll instantly know how to move towards it. They also have, this is for all generational passings, all your generational groups. Grounded changes are settling into long-term patterns for them, and they are going to just swoop through and do wonderful. And their mind is really interesting. It's air, present, and third eye. So we're going to read the air. Their thoughts, the way they think is all important, and they're going to be very aware of that in a way we never were. They're also present. Signs and clues are present. They pick up on the signs and the clues. They see the things that we were told we couldn't see. Even if we try to tell them they can't see it, they're seeing it no matter what. And then third eye is a wonderful place for the mind to be. They're full of intuition. They're full of insights. They're full of everything they need to do to bring this light in and just achieve so much. And that's kind of what I find about the kids that are my grandkids' age. And thank you, Janice, 25. I appreciate y'all coming over and visiting with me because without it, I miss stuff. So now we're going to have a very brief pause while I go and look at what's in the chat. Okay. And I'm going after the ones that are in capitals. Because that makes it so much easier for me to find. So I got 4, 5. I think I've got 6. Okay, this one's not in capitals, but she said the word dragonfly. That's my spirit animal, so I'll look at it. I'm going to highlight that one because it's true. It's something I believe. And okay. from the Pacific Northwest. I know we've got Finland here, Pacific Northwest, Michigan, and other Texans who are broiling slowly. They're broiling in Wisconsin too, and that's really unfortunate because they're not used to it. I mean, I don't want to broil, but at least I live in a place that has air conditioning. Um, okay. Regina's excited to be able to join us today. I'm always working when you're live. I'm so excited you can be here. I'm so excited that you got to extend, if you did manage to extend your 3-day holiday into a 4-day holiday. I really took yesterday off. I normally don't do that. I do something, but I got up and I had a bunch of paperwork I needed to be working on. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. Okay. Hello, please read on the new COVID wave. I want to go on holidays in October and not sure if it will be safe. Okay. Not telling tales out of school. One of the people I read for I mentor some people and they tend to be business women. And one of the business women I mentor works for a company that creates an air filtering system that kills 99.9% of the COVID. It also kills MERS and a bunch of other stuff. They found it just as COVID hit. They're in the process of selling it and getting the marketplace to understand it's there. She had me do a reading for her the other day because we looked at this new wave that's coming in. The best thing you can do is make sure you're vaxxed. And there's a new vaccine coming out, and she told me it has the variant in it that is the one they expect to hit us hard this fall. And in case you wonder how widespread they know variants are, they check wastewater. And when they see the numbers go up, and right now in the wastewater, a lot of people think they have a flu or something. They don't. The counts in wastewater are really, really low. The counts that are up are COVID. And so go get that shot. It's supposed to be out this month. I'm supposed to hear, I think, next week about going and getting mine. And then we'll read on, I'm going to do cards on whether you should go on your holiday or not. But that's what I know about COVID, and I know about it from people who are pretty close to it. I also know people in the county that do the counting at the wastewater, and they said the same thing, that what's in the wastewater now that's showing people as sick as COVID. So it's not the flu. You know, if you think you might have the flu, go get checked for COVID too. Okay. How's Jan's trip going to go? Watch out for your money. You're going to have a good time. You're not going to get sick. This tells me that it's someplace where you enjoy things and it's structured and you're going to be safe there because the people around you are going to be safe. You're going to spend more money than you want to do. I always spend more money than I want to. Maybe that's my card projecting that. But you're going to be with people and having a wonderful time. It's going to be a very balanced and temperate trip. And most of all, you're going to find out people haven't changed as much as you had worried they might have. I'm getting the feeling that you're getting worried about being separated from people you love and losing connections. And that's one of the things in those blue zones and the documentaries about the blue zones. It's where the people stayed connected. The first part of those documentaries were filmed before COVID came, and people were really took care of each other. In Japanese villages, they create something that starts with it's like moe, I think it's what they call it, but it's a group of people that become like family to each other. And some people are family members to one another, and some people are just neighbors, but they all watch out for each other and take care of each other, and that makes people feel connected. They say loneliness is one of the chief indicators that you're going to have trouble getting older. As you get older, you're going to have trouble adapting. Okay, let's see what we got here. Nancy Jean, yesterday, a dragonfly kept near me and even let me take a close-up picture. They were all blurry. Only him. I also have picture of a gold dragonfly. Yeah, um, he was just telling you whatever you were up to, girl. That was a good place for you to be, and you should just be enjoying yourself. My experience with the gold dragonfly was when I had my first meeting with the elementals in one of my visions at night, which you would call a dream, I guess. And when I when I got up the next day and I went, yeah, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to talk about how I met all these fairies and unicorns and elves and things. Yeah, sure. And so I went out to get my car to go run an errand, and right next to my car was a solid gold dragonfly. There wasn't any other color on this dragonfly but gold. And I looked, and it was right hovering right next to the window outside the driver's side. And I looked at it, and it, like dragonflies do, went bloop, bloop, and then it got right in front of my car. And it stayed in front of my windshield while I drove down to the main busy road that is off the complex that I live in. And I went, you're not going to go away until I agree to do it. And basically, I was hearing, we're not going away. You're going to be followed by dragonflies and everything else. So I agreed to the dragonfly. And when I turned to go to the main road, he was gone. So that's a very special visit you had, Debbie. Now, I don't know, you may live where there's lots of dragonflies. Where I live in a desert, kids. There are no dragonflies. Okay. Okay, where'd she go? Okay, I have to step away for a while due to coolness outside. I will be back. Boo, Eliza, boo. No, not boo. Thank God you live in a place that's meant for humans. Okay, I'm trying to go to my ones that were in capitals because I could find them. Um, okay, someone wants a garden reading for September. Rossi. What's September going to be like for Rossi? Personally, what is September going to be like for Rossi? Ooh, got some good stuff going on. This is clarity. Your sodalite. It's in your root chakra. And it says you're tying cosmic wisdom that you've been building, making it the base of your life. And then you have your spirit and solar plexus, which is also a wonderful place. Power comes from the spirit. You can transform and transmute at this time. So you must be doing something really interesting spiritually. Then your mind is in fire. So it's something that's pulling you out of your past. It says don't be tied to false energy of the past. And that these two are such big changes. Don't fall back and, oh, that couldn't happen to me. Yeah, it can, because your mind is also in water, and it says to let go of limitations. Don't be tied to false thing in the past, and let go of limitations. And then right in the middle, but actually it's almost all in earth, is your grounding stone, and that's the pyrite. And it says more is going to come forward to you during the month of September. And then the finishing part is your body is out here in air. And it says stay grounded in your thinking. You're going to have an incredible lot of things you've been building up and you've been sort of seeing are going to really solidify for you. Don't fall into the, oh, I can't see that. This says let go of those limitations and you can move forward. And you're going to be just going forward with such great speed in your spiritual journey. And that's going to be a lovely September, because when the spirit's happy, we tend to be happier. So that sounds good, Rossi. Nancy Jean, will you please see what I have to look forward to in the next couple of months? Thank you. I think I'm going to stick with the garden because the garden's really liking us today. If I get something in there I don't understand, I've got the cards here. This is for Joyce. This is a reading for Joyce. in the garden. Oh, you got a very different reading. Well, you got spirit in the future. Mhm. I think you've been working on something, and it's not good. Well, with 80% of the planets retrograde, you're having to rethink things. Would have thought. But I think that your clarity is your dilemmas have not been well defined, but I think part of what's going to be going on in this next couple months is what you need to work on is going to become completely clear, and your body's in your heart. And if you've been going through some sort of physical challenge, it's it's tied to your own sense of freedom and the freedom of your own heart. And you almost go over to solar plexus. So your body's what's going to bring forth the power so that you can move ahead, so you can solve these problems that we're seeing here. Now, I'm going to go to your spirit because it's out here in future. It says, be patient. The transmutation is not yet complete that you're going through. You can feel yourself changing. It's not happening fast enough. It never does. But this says that if you work with your body's going to give you the hints. And when body's giving us hints, that really means to listen to your intuition, listen to what your gut's telling you to do. That's what the body means. Um, Thought comes, if you think about the lower three chakras as your gut chakras, when stuff's being worked through there, then it comes to the heart, which is where the earth stone is. It's stuff that's coming up from your very base of how you think about life. And then once you get past these couple months, you'll be able to spring it forward through the throat, the third eye, and the crown. But right now, where's your mind? Oh, your mind's an interesting place. It's in the oil. And final thoughts are coming on this situation, and don't get too tied to things from the past. Both these stones are basically saying the same thing. This is your grounding stone. More is going to be brought forward that's going to help clarify this for you, which we saw wasn't clear. And clarification comes from dealing with a situation from your past. So what I see is you having to go into a situation from your past. Your heart's going to tell you how to respond to it, because it's apparently an issue that's confused you in the past, but you have some grand enlightening coming towards you. So these 2 months are really important for you to deal with some of the shadow side of your life, or some of the things that you've never really been sure about. Well, they're going to get clarified for you. And, okay. This is a 4 year for me. What do you see? Well, I don't know how far you are into the 4 year, but 4 years are when you've built your base, you've learned to communicate with people one to one. That's build your base is one. Communications is number two. 3 is you've been working out with groups. 4 is where you take all the information you've gathered from those things and you bring them into your life, and then you decide what needs to stay. And if you think about it, it's like this. One is doing it by yourself. It's a line up and down. 2 is you're moving between 2 lines, between 2 spaces. When you get in your 3 year, it's like a triangle, and that's the strongest structure we have. And energy just flows through the 3 year. In a 4 year, you've gathered a lot of information. Am I going to work with these people? I'm going to stay with them. But a 4 is a square. And so you're moving along and you go, oh, I hit a corner. Well, I have to decide. I have to change directions. You hit another corner. You hit another corner. That's what a 4 year can kind of feel like at times. And it's really time for us to clarify what's going on. Hi, Dozen Cats. This is Dozen Cats Wellness Tarot. We're going to be doing past lives at 12:30 on Friday. if you're interested in past life reading, Kelly and I are going to do those together. Those behind you. You're the one I was getting rid of. Hypnicity wants a fall reading if there's time. Well, there's time. We're only 35 minutes in. I'm kind of amazed there's this much time. Okay. Hypnicity in the fall. And you know, this is winter, spring, summer, fall. So all the stones that fall over here for you are going to be the ones that are going to be the most important. And they're almost all there. You're going to have a really interesting, you're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff from your past. You know, grounding stone and water is a great one. This fall, you're going to set into some long-term patterns. So what are those patterns? Well, your mind has been in earth for the summer, and final thoughts have been coming. You've been working on it all summer. Now you're going to see, what are these stones going to do for me? Your clarity is in fire. It says, use ideas that come from your past to solve the problems that are part of life's solutions. And you've got restate. And restate is that funny place in my garden where you have to think, rethink. And your dilemma has not been really well defined early in the fall. By the middle of the fall, your body's taking over and you're dealing from your gut level. And your options, I think your options aren't going to come clear until you get out here into the winter, but your this is another case. You got two of these. Look to something that worked for you before. That's going to pop up, and you're going to kind of, well, it didn't all work completely out, but it worked well for you. So consider that. And your spirits in the past, and it says one of the things that you need, this what you need to look at when you're in restate is look at how much has really changed for you. And you're not considering that. You want to see the whole thing. You think when we have visions or ideas that we see everything completely clear. We don't. Trust me. From day to day, sometimes I don't. But this one for you means that your transformation's already really happened. You just need to bring the best parts of what happened to you in the past instead of hanging on to the worst things that have happened. You need to focus on what's positive and coming up. And I think this fall, by winter, you're gonna be ready to let go of all these limitations you've held on yourself for so long. And I hope that happens for you, Hypnicity, because I know you've been in chat for a while. Okay. Is it time for me to leave Wisconsin and move to somewhere warm? Since I'm in someplace warm, no. But I'll read for you. Is it time for you to make a move? I understand what you mean. I mean, there are places that are not as warm as where I live. But my problem is that my experience with living in Texas is when we have a really hot summer like this one, it's followed by a winter that decides to even it out by freezing us to death. So I can't go out in the heat, and then when the snow comes, I'm such a touchy person. I can't walk on it. So I have to figure out a way to get around all this. Oh. I see the magic word Ontario in one of the people talking. That's where my parents were from. Hamilton, to be exact, or the Hamilton area. This is Prince Charming's mom leaving Wisconsin. Yeah, and I think the offer is going to come from someone very kind. It's going to seem to you at times almost impossible to get the project started, but you feel that living in Wisconsin, especially when you have a bad limiting winter, really keeps you boxed in. You just don't have all your information together yet. Let's see what I can find about the Knight of Wands. Okay, yeah, this is moving away to someplace better, crossing the bridge of despair. and moving on. Money's going to be somewhat of an issue. You're going to have to think that one through, and don't believe everyone this one says about how inexpensive it is. Really look at it and make sure it's a place you can afford. But the cards are, for the most part, saying yes, you're going to move. You're going to be offered something to move, and it's going to be okay. I'm going to see what this thing is about. Okay. These three cards underneath what this card's talking about is the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. If you put a positive mindset on it, then you'll be able to figure it out and move. And why did I say what it's fear? Because all three of these cards are, I have to be defensive. I don't really want to move. And this is, I think it's time to end this, but I'm not sure how. So you're thinking about all the limitations. I mean, it's reasonable to consider all the permutations that can happen with that sort of thing. But there just does come a point where you have to say, I want to make this work, and think about that every day when you wake up too. Okay. I'm in a 4-year and I feel like I let go of a lot of past life. I have let go of so much past life stuff. Good. And that's a good year to do it. That's a good year to clean it out, because if you clean out stuff that's been holding you back in your 4-year, 5-year is freedom or chaos. So if you clean it out, you've got freedom. If you don't, you've got chaos. So you're doing a good job there, girl. Yeah. She sees the same thing I do. And the younger generation is they're very different vibration than we have had. And I hope they maintain it. Okay, got another one. Do you see me traveling soon? I'm going to do yes, no on the cards. Is that what I'm going to do? No, I'm going to throw it in the garden because it may tell me what season you're going to go travel. So we're going to do it that way. Mary. Travel. Okay, yeah, I see it definitely, because it's almost all in this triangle, which is winter. You've gone through some physical changes recently. It may be weight loss. It may be just getting yourself healthier. They may have finally diagnosed what's wrong with you. It was a long-term problem, though, because you've had to deal with some issues from your past. I have a real feeling it's like a whole dietary thing, or you got up and you finally walked every day. Anyway, you clean up your act. So I see in the winter you're going to take a trip, and you're going to like it because you got spirit and true. And spirit sees you going forward with great harmony in your plan. And water with the mind is you're letting go of limitations, and you're saying, I'm just going to go on this trip. I've done all the things down here to get myself ready for it. And your clarity is in water also. And it says you have all the clarity you need. You have 2 or 3 options. If you trust your instincts, you'll know which one is the best. So I think you're going to have a trip in the winter. Looks good. Oops. Very. Okay. I'd like to know what's in store for me health-wise for September through November. I take it since you're going to have to worry about your health in October, so we're going to see. I'm going to throw cards on this. Tammy and health. I'm asking if you have any reason to be concerned about your health. I don't know why I'm being told to ask the question that way, but when I get told, I do it. So. I don't see any great changes. I think you've had people doing different tests on you. I think you had one person who told you something, and now you're looking into it. You're trying to figure out if it's right. It's stopping you from doing things you really want to do, but the emperor would imply that by November you will have solved the problem. Is you see who this guy is? So this is going to. I think you're going to be sent from this doctor to a different doctor because they're not moving forward in helping you get a diagnosis or helping you find the right solutions to solve your problems. And this shows you do get to that point where you meet someone and then you have the emperor. And I would say, is this November? Yeah, by November it's done. You've gotten to the right doctor or the right other kind of healthcare specialist. They're helping you figure out what's been bugging you, and you're ready to roll. So I hope that's true. I know it's hard when you're trying to work with doctors, except I was raised by one, so I don't pay any attention to them. I just say, nope, you're wrong. That's not who I am. And I realize most people don't do that because they're sane. And I live in a big city where there's a lot of doctors too. Good for you, Rossi. Mask on that plane, man. Masks are the easiest and hand sanitize. Oh, someone just found us. Yay! Subscribe and like and do all that good stuff. Oh, Linda Bishop doesn't do shots. Well, then do everything you can to protect yourself from it. Because actually, people who don't want to do shots, if all the other people are masked up and cleaning their hands, we shouldn't have the problems we're having. We're having the problems we're having because we have people who think, no offense, but their S doesn't stink and they couldn't possibly give it to us. And they're the little rat bastards that are the petri dishes. Okay. Um, and I know you want me to really tell you what I really think about people who don't take precautions. If you can't take the shots, and some people can't, then you should take every precaution to protect yourself because you're the most likely to grow the next nasty variant. Okay, Ronnie White. General reading. My mind is saying, I can't focus in the garden on a general reading, so we're going to do Ronnie Y in the next quarter. And besides the fact, we're really close to the fall equinox. Is that equinox? Whatever's good. Yeah, it's equinox because then it's the solstice. Yeah, we're going into the fall solstice here in the end of September. It's going to be fun. You're working real hard on something. It's towards your home. It's after some negative negative things happen to you financially. It's making you feel better about things. You're feeling very whole. You're meeting the people you need to meet. You're getting out of prison. This is a brilliant reading. This is you today, and you're working on something, and it's really making your home whole. You had some money worries in the past, and right now you're not happy with where you're living, but there's a financial element to it, so you can't solve it all completely, but you're going to get a lot of it solved. This is hopes and fears. You're hoping that you wouldn't have a broken heart, and you were fearing a broken heart. I don't think you're going to have a broken heart because of these cards. You're getting it together, girl. You're getting your money and your stuff together. This is, I think Ronnie Y is a girl. I don't know why I think that, and this is you're working with the people who can really help you solve the problem. you're getting out of jail. For the first time in a long time, you feel freer than you have, but you're not quite ready to party yet. You don't trust the situation enough to party yet. But your general reading is really good. Looks like things are going to flow for you. And by the way, if you would like to learn how to read tarot from me and the way I read tarot, and I read fast, can't guarantee you'll be able to read fast, but I've been reading since I was 12, and I'm 103 or something like that now. Jeffrey and I will be offering, Jeffrey, who made it through last week with me with all of my problems with my uh, microphones and things. We got all that fixed. I've had a hell of a. Oh, okay. The lady saw the gold dragonfly. Usually they're multicolored. Yes, usually they are. Well, you live in Florida, the one that I read about it. I'm the lady who designed this garden for me with when we came up with what we wanted to do. Alma, she lives in Florida, and she used to have a red dragonfly that would wait for her every afternoon at the door when she went out to get the mail. It was solid red. Hi, Gigi. Okay. Okay, Tammy, I got time to do you, Tammy. Garden reading for September. What's happening around Tammy in September? Get all the stones. Okay. You're working on a lot of basic fundamentals in your life in September because almost all your stones are in the center. And that's the basic things: fire, water, air, and earth, the most basic part of our foundations of our lives. Although your um, your values are going to really need, there's something you're really reconsidering right now, and it's blocking you from going on the path forward. Be careful and don't over rely on omens, but look for them around you when you're moving forward. Your mind is in earth. Final thoughts to your situation will be coming for you in September, and your body is in fire, and it's stuff you've been through in the past, and you just need to start working on it so that it can all wash out. And you've got your spirit in water, which is really good. And your transmutation, a lot of it will be complete this September if you let go, if you don't hang on to old false values, and your spirit isn't go for it. When your spirit's aligned with the ideas, everything's going to flow. So this can be an incredible September for you if you do the positive parts of this. If you hang on to the old things that have weighted you down, it won't be as good. So let go of that baggage. That's what this time of year, that's what all these retrogrades are about. It's time to rethink, redo, let go. Okay. Liza, yes. It's cool where Eliza is. She's rubbing it in, guys. She can walk to her garage and not die. Okay. If I had a garage, I'd walk out there and still be hot. Okay. Okay, this is Kelly saying she's gonna love doing past lives with me on Friday. That's really all we'll do. So we won't be doing, this seasons or anything else. We're just gonna be working with the past life garden and past life readings. I don't know how to explain this. I've never been able to really explain it, but when your mind gets into a sudden, when your mind gets into a certain pattern, it's easier, and I'm much better when I do all my past lives at once. I would love a fall reading. Okay. And then we're almost out of time, kids. So, you got stuff coming up in the future, Vicki, and I know you've been working on things in the future. You've got your spirit in the future. And Vicki's a gardener, so she can read along with me. She knows what these stones are about. Be patient. Your transmutation is not quite done, but all the gifts that are coming in at this time you have not yet recognized. Your clarity is kind of doing weird, standing up weird in earth. Um, it's like pointing up. That's really hard for a stone that's built like it is to land that way. So, clarity in earth says you're going to pick the correct path. You're still working out old stuff, but physical changes are coming towards you right now. And nope, yeah, and your mind is in the air, and that's great because the way you think, the way every sentence you say, every time you frame a new idea, you're telling the universe what you really want. You're in a very important time. You're passing on to some new stuff, but to think about your words. I had to correct an old friend of mine yesterday. She kept saying, those things don't work out for me. And I said, well, keep saying that, and they never will. Just saying. Now you know what it's like to be my friend, I lecture them to. And if I can find one more. Pixie dust. Yay! We're going to see pixie dust fall reading. Oh, you got an interesting fall. You've got something going on this summer that's leading up to it, though. It has to do with your clarity. And we've had some readers who have worked with me, and they've said when they read, if stone's in the heart chakra, you have to read that one first because it's setting the tone. And wisdom comes through the clarity of your emotions. So we have to read the whole rest of the reading with that in mind. And your clarity also isn't false, which means your visions are clouded right now. But I have a feeling with the stones that are out there, your sacral chakra's got your grounding stones in it. That's great. You can manifest supercharged at this time. So don't let the false things that have been holding you back hold you back. Move forward. And your mind is between fire, past, and when your mind is aligned with your creativity and you're dealing with things from your past, you can move forward really quickly. Don't be tied to false energy of the past. And then in water, you've got your body. And earth is where things grow up from. Fire is where we deal. And the reason I think it's fire is because a lot of things that come out of our past are kind of hot issues. But fire is there, and that's where a lot of past issues come from. Water is where things get washed away. And air is where they come through thoughts and they move out into the universe. So your body's in water. Helps coming from grounding the elements around you, and you've got your spirit and true, which is a great place for it to go. Spirit's moving forward with all the things you plan this fall in harmony, and your transmutation will be completed in this quarter. So whatever you've been really working on, pixie dust, I know these stones fell out in winter, but we asked about fall. You're going to have a lot of clarity and a lot of transmutation. Your biggest problem is letting go of the old thoughts that were planted in you. Do you see any joy coming in? I take it this is for you. Maybe you mean for the universe. I do see things are getting better. I think this having to hang and look backwards a lot this fall is helping us actually move forward much more quickly. I'm going to see if for artistic world, I see any joy coming into your life right now. Absolutely. You've got some younger people around you. You've got all the pages, man. You are getting so much information, and that would bring joy into your life. Your problem is you don't see how you can get something completed you want to have completed. You think it's going to be too painful to get it completed, but actually it's going to clarify for you what you need to do. It's the only thing that's not in here is your emotions. You've got your drive, your ability to work with things and create new things and get money. And the world upside down just says it's not quite complete yet, but yeah, I definitely see joy coming in, especially if you hang out with younger people. I'm glad I read that one. I almost went past it because it wasn't in capitals. Oh, the deck I'm using, um, it's Eileen Conley's Tarot, and it was published in 2000. And the reason I use it is I love the images that are in it. It's very close to Rider Waite, but it's not as conventional as Rider Waite. But and I've studied a lot of Eileen Conley. She's no longer with us, but I've studied a lot of her uh, how to read a deck. She has some really, really good books on how to read tarot. Um, but what's the best part of this deck is there's no devil and there's no death. And I used to read in a wine bar every Tuesday night, as many as you know. And last thing you want to do is flip death or the devil on someone's thing when they've had a couple glasses of wine. Okay. Oh, pixie dust. Yeah, I've been to Niagara Falls. My parents actually. My mother was born in London, Ontario. My dad was born out in a farm, which is halfway to here and halfway to there, so they called it Hamilton. And they got out of there shortly after World War II. That's why I was born on this side of the border. Okay, everybody, we're having people say, Vicki, I'll text you your answer. And I'm going to do one more and then I've got to stop because I have to stop sometime. And I spent all morning working on the texts and the announcements and getting it set up so people can go buy their tarot class for me, which will be limited to 15 people in the day and 15 at night. 6 weeks course. And I never had anybody who took the course that couldn't read at the end of it. And Jeffrey will be there with me helping, which will be very useful because he sees the cards in a very different way. Okay, is she going to travel? Don't pack your bags, Vicki. Um, oh, this was okay. Wait a minute. I was reading the wrong question. I'm going to read the right question. You've applied for financial claim. Will it be successful? I was looking at Vicky's question. I assume that was your answer for you, Vicky. That I was going to write you about later. Okay, and now I'm really ending this, guys. I'm going to stop this. Cindy S. applied for financial claim. Will it be successful? Okay. Well, aren't you glad you got this reading? This says yes. There's still some things going on in the background, so I'd really double look and triple look at everything that's going on. It's going to be balanced. I don't know that you're going to get as much as you wanted, but it's going to mean you're able to move on, and it did cause you a lot of emotional pain, whatever you're filing about. So, okay, guys. Let me make sure someone's not saying my house is on fire or something. I'm going to be back up on Friday with Kelly and Dozen Cats. It'll be on my channel and her channel. Um, and Kimber, I would love to answer your question, but I really do need to go because I'm getting tired. So Y'all have a great day. I really appreciated seeing every single one of you here. Thank you for coming. Goodbye.